Okay, so in this video I want to show you one of my latest tattoos, and reason why I showed this tattoo is because I want to show you how a tattoo looks when it's new and is healed. So you can see the text say healed is the healed one, and new one obviously is the new is the new. So the healed and the new and so on. And the thing here is that I think if as long you are prepared, for example, if you have darker skin tone or brown skin tone, I think as long you are prepared that some color maybe can change sometime for a bit different nuance of the color, I think everything should be okay. So I'm gonna explain exactly what colors this is exactly and the brand, so you know exactly if you want to try the same colors. Is Electric Raspberry is the purple thing you see here is Electric Raspberry. Electric Raspberry is a brand of magenta, and magenta is a mixture with red and blue, and you get different version of magenta because of how different way you mix it with other things to get darker or lighter and so on. And the other color is turquoise blue, and and so you see the differences. You see on the new one, you see that the turquoise blue is much more lighter. You see it much more clearer comparable to the healed one. And so you know this is my tattoo. So it's just my. So I show just from my skin my tattoo. And when you see on my healed the healed one of my tattoo, you see that the turquoise blue is much more darker blue in the healing process, but it's still the same blue, but it's a different nuance to the blue because of the skin tone. And so that is the interesting thing here is that when you have like magenta, electric raspberry magenta, that is the only magenta I have tried, so I only can name that magenta. That magenta on my skin turns to pink, some kind of pink. And that, I don't know exactly why the reason is. Maybe it's because you have some colors combined with brown change the color. So this one, especially electric raspberry, is very change the color. So you get like almost like a pinkish, light, medium pinkish red kind of color when the tattoo heal. And so you still see the color, you still see it well. And so this tattoo was done in 2020 in September, and now we are in November, so it's like maybe 2 months, 2 months old. Tattoo is not old at all, it's only 2 months. And yeah, so that is the thing here, is that you have to just be prepared that uh, some colors can change and the nuance of the color if you have darker skin tone, and some color gonna look darker because your skin tone is dark and it's in a healing process and this kind of thing. And obviously I think for me, I think many colors works for me. The color I know works is like lime green, turquoise blue, electric raspberry, orange, um, red, and black. This is the 6 color I know works on me. Um, yeah. So that is the thing. So you see there where the color is the mixture with all of these 3 colors: turquoise blue, electric raspberry, and lime green. And obviously the reason why the new tattoo do not have any lime green around the eye is because when my tattoo artist takes the picture of the tattoo, he do not want the green in the eye, so he takes the picture without that. So it's the same day with the green, but the picture is taken before we put green into the eye of the tattoo, because I want the green in the eye, because I think the tattoo is more lively, lives more lively with some color in the eye, and so on. Yeah, so exactly same tattoo, and just because, so the color heal, and we get a different thing. So this, when you see here, is the tattoo when it's freshly done. This one, that is a new tattoo. And you see, if I zoom in on it, on the new one, when it's fresh and new, you see that it looks like almost like kind of purplish kind of color around the tattoo, almost like very especially purplish, almost like you have like some kind of red violet kind of thing feeling to it, very purplish. So it's very interesting how they look, and almost it looks. My best comparison with the color is like it's like the color from like a color of a blueberry when you squeeze it, but it's like when you squeeze it and you put it into water and mix around with water, it's kind of that color you see on the new one. That's the fresh one. And then then I can show my when the tattoo, the healed one, and it's almost like from like a blueberries color turn to almost like a raspberry color instead on my skin. So that is interesting, that how it's totally changed from so different, like it's like almost like you flip a coin, how different the color change on the skin. So it's like from like a raspberry kind of blueberryish turn to like a like what the ink's name says. So they say electric raspberry, and raspberry is a fruit, and it's almost like a reddish pinkish. So you get that color what they say on the bottle on my skin. So it's interesting how, for me, anyways, it's interesting how the bottle of the ink turn to that kind of color, like when it's new, but it changed when they heal to the original statement of that color from the ink bottle. That is electric raspberry from Ink Eternal. And that I think can happen too, is that we put some more colors in the electric raspberry, and to get I have very hard to see that just this color turn to like this kind of color. So I think the color I know is turquoise blue and lime green, and obviously turquoise blue is for ink to explain. Turquoise blue is a green and blue, but you have different versions. For example, in turquoise blue you have turquoise blue, the dark turquoise blue, the standard, and from Ink Eternal, and then you have tropical teal. That is much lighter turquoise blue. That is another version. I also have tried tropical teal, but I much prefer turquoise blue over tropical teal, because I think turquoise blue stands better on my skin comparable with tropical teal. This is just my opinion. I think that it stands better, but I have longer time I have tropical teal on my skin. But I think the reason why I'm more skeptic with tropical teal is because I think when the tattoo healed, there was a wasp. I do a new school wasp, and they have tropical teal wings. And I think the healing process was a bit harder and a bit more easier to be ruined, but everything went fine, no problem. Everything went fine. What I think some colors I'm personally more skeptic about, because I think some colors more like the colors that have lots of white ink in them are colors that I can try, but I'm more nowadays because I have tried different tattoos because I have lot. I don't know if 11 is lot or not, but I have 11 tattoos. So I try tattoos. Nowadays, I'm more prepared for things that can happen. I'm not knowing before what will happen, but I'm more prepared in that sense that I'm prepared that something maybe don't work, and that is, I think it's like this. Okay, this is my mindset. My mindset of tattoos is like this. You try or you don't try. Do you want to see what works or not work? You have to try. If you always stay, example, if you always try red and black because you know that work, then you're never gonna know or learn what will work or not work. You have to try different colors, and every person with every person with dark skin or brown skin or light skin are different. So you cannot just because one person have brown skin, have that color, do not means that when you try it, they're going to be exactly the same result of that color as the other person have uh, on his tattoo comparable to your tattoo. So that is my biggest tips. My biggest thing to say is, if you want to try a color, even if your tattoo artist recommend against it, but you are 100% sure that you want to try that color, go for it. I just say go for it. But you have to understand, if that color did not work on your skin when the tattoo have healed, it's not your tattoo artist's fault. It's yourself have chose that color. Exactly for me, I have the same thing. I can say I tried two different versions of purple, like normal purple and dark purple. I learned that normal purple was the least good for me. Dark purple was better, comparable. But there's so many different versions of purple, so I cannot say that every purple is garbage for my skin. Absolutely not. I have not tried like red violet, like really red violet. So I cannot say if that is good or bad, or that if that will turn like to pinkish or something else, or brownish coloring on my skin. So I think when you look at, like, for example, on Google on color tattoos good for darker or brown skin tones, I think that is very difficult, because you have to know your own skin to know what will work. And the only reason how to know that is if you try. If you just listen to somebody tell you maybe that's not going to work, then you have to then the person have to show you his on his Instagram, his tattoo portfolio, to show you that if his customers have very very similar skin tone to you. And that is very hard, because you just see the skin tone on the picture. You don't see, there finns many more things, like if the reddish or orangish brown skin version of the skin tone. So you have to exactly know how similar their skin tone are to your skin tone, and you have to see when it's fresh and healing result side by side. And that is just one thing. So that is, I think, yeah. So I just think you have this. The best thing is just to try and see for yourself what the result will be, because I think that is the reason why I have know for now what color works for me or don't gonna work for me, because I have tried them. Because example, try yellow. Obviously, there is many different versions of yellow, and because I don't remember exactly what yellow we get when I get for some yellows, I cannot say what yellow it was, but only know it was yellow. And because it's so many versions of yellow, so the other thing tips is to you when you try color is try to like this. Ask you when, if example you say, for example you say lime green, for example. just tell you, ask your tattoo artist if you're allowed to take a picture of the ink bottle of the color you're gonna choose, because if you have a picture of that color and you see, okay, now I know, I remember, okay, it was lime green, and then you can see, then when the tattoo have healed, then you know, okay, this is how lime green looks on my skin 2 years or 5 years later. Okay, if I'm gonna try green again, maybe I'm gonna try lime green, or because I know. So it's always good to know what color you have tried, so you always have that as a backup, and so on. So the more color you try, the more information you get from different color. So it's almost like driving a bicycle, but instead you get a needle in your body and you get ink put into the bottle in your body. It's almost like that. It's almost like you have to learn. You have to learn from your fall to be good to drive a bicycle. That's exactly as if you're a tattoo collector. You have to learn from your own mistake. That your maybe that is wrong word to say. Wrong mistake is you understand what I mean? You have to learn from the mistake your own mistake. So you learn from your own mistake, and so that is the thing. So mistakes are not end of your life. It's not that a mistake is just one thing. And tattoo, just because a color get bad, do not mean the tattoo is destroyed. I think so long you have black lines. It's the case. Long people see what is for something. If you do a snake or a dragon or a tiger or a building or a forest painting, a kind of tattoo. So long people see that is a tree or see this is leaves, it's okay. So I think the shape, the most important thing is the shape of the tattoo. It's not the color. Color is like the final is the final touch of the tattoo. So for me, it's like always listen to yourself. So long you know what you want, so long you are 100% sure that that is what you want, go for it. Like, and if the tattoo artist do not want to do it because that person do not want, you go to the other person and you get the tattoo. So long you find the right person to do your tattoo. And and that is the thing here, is that I think I always go to one tattoo artist, and because I'm really like what that tattoo artist do for me. And always we are not always agreed, absolutely not. Sometimes we are very at odds with each other, what he think and what I think, and that do not really matter, because if that person say, okay, that's gonna look like shit, or they're gonna look like horrible bad, or look like shit, that is what that person think. That is what that person think. It's not what I think. So, and if the person like the tattoo, he maybe put it on the tattoo portfolio, and that means that he like it because he want to show it. But if he don't like it, he don't gonna take picture on it, and he don't gonna put it on the tattoo portfolio. That is fine. Just because he don't want to show your tattoo he have done for you, do not mean that the tattoo is bad. Is bad. It's just the tattoo artist's opinion, and that is the thing here, is when you are like an artist for any version of art, from tattoo, sculpturing, graffiti, it's like every person thinks different what they think looks good. But you go to a tattoo artist because that tattoo artist will do the tattoo for you, will look good, and that is the thing here. That person do so the tattoo looks good. He maybe maybe have a picture in his or hers, his or her mind how a tattoo should look. with that style or that tradition comparable to your image how a tattoo should look. And yeah, and you have to just try. If you want to listen to your tattoo artist, you do. If you don't, with the in the color spectrum, you don't have to. But it's your own mistake if the tattoo goes wrong. It's not your tattoo artist's fault. It's your own mistake. Remember that. So if you don't listen, it's fine. But you don't complain to a tattoo artist if your tattoo get messed up, because you have chose that color for yourself. Exactly like me, I have chose purple. I have chose light purple, dark purple, yellow. Now I don't remember the name of that special yellow, so I cannot say exactly what version of yellow this was. I have tried orange, the same thing with orange. That is the thing. The only thing I think is very good to remember is the name of that color you use, of that version of that color you use. So you exactly will know how that version of example. Now I only know electric raspberry. That is one version of magenta. I don't know how other magenta will heal on my skin. Maybe it's gonna heal, be a different result, or and so on. If it's dark magenta, and so there is so many versions of one color that give you so much possibilities to try different version of one color. For example, turquoise blue, tropical teal. Then you have normal blues normal blue, and other version of blue. Besides turquoise blue and tropical teal, you have grass blue, so it's probably grass green, a mix of blue and green, and so on. So you have so many different versions. You have different versions of pink, uh, and so on. And how example, if electric raspberry looks like pinkish kind of coloring on my skin, how will example hot pink look on my skin? Is that gonna look exactly the same as electric raspberry, when or it's gonna look totally different? So that is also always very intriguing things, I think, because when you see a tattoo heal and they look like pink, but you know you don't have any pink because electric raspberry is red and blue, it's not pink. But if electric raspberry on my skin turn to pink, how will, example, what I said before, how will hot pink or other kind of pink look on my skin? Because hot pink is kind of pink and red together to make it almost like, so it's maybe it's going to look like red, but it's maybe a bit lighter and red on my skin. I have no idea. No, I don't know. Absolutely not know exactly how that will be, how that result is, how it will happen, and how it healed and how it look when it's new comparable to when it's healed on the skin. So yeah, so that I think is the thing here, is that it's very interesting when you see a tattoo side by side, the healed one and the new one, and see how much differences is with the color of the tattoo. How much they change when it's sinking into the skin, comparable before it's over on the layer of the skin of the tattoo. And yeah, I think that is for me personally very interesting to really see that how much difference it is, obviously with the color and so on. Yeah, and every person's skin gonna have a different result with colors and how it healed and so on. And yes, and I think every person can uh, get color tattoos, but you have to be much more. Oh, how can I say that? You have to be much more. The darker your skin tone are, the darker, like if you're really black skin, you have to be much more maybe careful where what kind of color you get, and you have to be much more you have to look much more around on the internet for tattoo artists that are much more, very specialized in that skin tone to give you the best result possible. So the best thing is lots of information. Look around on the internet. Look around. Read different sources for information, and that is very, very extremely important. Extremely important for information to get the best result possible. Do not leave anything don't leave anything for you just. If you do the first tattoo, you have to know exactly who you go to, and sometimes you can be lucky, but it's not a good thing just to. If nowadays when we have so easy, we can get information so quickly on the internet, good and bad, obviously, when we can get information. I think that then you should not waste any time. Then you should very, very much look for information to get the best result and so on. And some tattoo artists will say no because they have darker skin tone, because they will see that it's much harder to do. Yeah, it's harder to do color tattoos or any kind of version of tattoos on very, very, very dark skin, but it's not impossible. People can do it, but you just have to know exactly how to do it, and yeah, you have to go to a very, very good tattoo artist that are specialized in that field of that skin tone, and have many times customers with that skin with very similar or close skin tone, and so they know exactly what color they can perform, what color will probably look bad, and obviously because money with tattoos. So you have to always know that if when you spend money on something, you know that sometimes will not be that you the way you imagine it that thing of with that color. Should be always be prepared for that. That if you think maybe one color will look that way and that will not happen, so always be prepared that something can change with the color. If you have darker or brown skin tone, can be different with the color we have healed, and this kind of things. It's always good to be prepared. Always be prepared for that kind of thing. So yeah, and I think because the darker skin is the lesser you see the tattoo when it's healed, but it's always compare what color you use and how you use it, and what thing you have it. Like example, maybe if you have dark skin, you maybe have to have extremely much contrast. Maybe, for example, just example. I don't say that that is the thing or not. I just say that is I think maybe a possibility, but don't listen to me in that thing. You have to listen to a good tattoo artist. I think maybe you have a really, really, really black skin. Then you maybe have obviously what kind of version of black skin, if you're reddish or other version. The thing is here that if you have a very strong red as background, and you have some other color that is it's very clear contrast, like a background is a red, like a red moon or a red sun, and like a red background, and you maybe have a black, lots of like a black line work. So maybe if the red is under and the black is over, like almost like a shadow, you maybe can get a very good result because the red will put out the black. So the black is like pushing out. So you see the red is the background, almost like, yeah. So it's like a shadow. That is maybe a possibility. It's something I really want. Something I want to try sometime is like to have a like a black and gray, but with color background to see what happens. For example, so you see the background, you see color, and so the background is color and front is no color, and see if that will put out the tattoo much more to give the much more lively look for the nuance of the color, like the shading, and obviously the nuance, and that is maybe one possibility to do color for dark skin tone. But I think you have to have lots of colors to make it pop up on the skin, and so on. So you maybe have to spend more money to get a clear colorful tattoo if you have dark skin tone and this kind of thing. And so yeah, so I think it's lots of information. Know what version of your skin you have. Knows that if you know all of this, and then you leave that information that you have learned to your tattoo artist, and that tattoo artist can see how he can do the best thing for you as a tattoo and this kind of thing. And so, for example, the reason why I'm, for example, try turquoise blue is because I watch other tattoo artist on YouTube explain what colors that tattoo artist recommend, and I tried, and that works for me, that color, and so on. So it's always, you have to always be open for information, and other thing open for to try things to know what will work or not work. You have to, yeah, for all of this kind of thing. And so yeah, it's I think the more people learn, the more I think will develop. And is that the way of humanity? We always will develop the way how we do things. Like yeah, like hunting, we have first spear, then we have throwing spear, then we have bows, then we have crossbows, then we have primitive guns, then we have better guns, and flintlocks, then we have other. And so the same thing is for tattoos, and the tattoo styles and coloring and different customers and you have different way to do tattoos for different customers. And you have the simple way, you have to just develop the way to do the more different people come to your studio to ask for tattoos, the more, even if you do maybe lots of mistake, you still, it's better to do lots of mistakes and then just have one type of customers. Only example, if you only have light skin customers, because then you're only gonna learn how to tattoo this kind of customers. You don't then later on when there come other people with other skin tone into your studio, you have to learn to tattoo them too, because you have to have diverse customers. The more diverse people you have, that's the better you're gonna be, because you're gonna learn much way better how to handle all kinds of skin tones. And maybe some skin tones gonna look much harder to do because you're not prepared for it and this kind of thing. So it's like, yeah, you have to always learn, and that is the same thing I think compared with the tattoo artist, and the same thing if you're example like me, if you're a tattoo collector, that means that you collect tattoos, that you learn from the mistake you do, because you learn, okay, this do not work, that is, and why is, then you can look at why is the reason why it don't work. Okay, maybe that color is not a good combination with that skin tone because it's too light, and the skin tone is dark because that will turn up like this way, and so always those so. And also where you put the tattoo on your body will also have a different result, because some places on the body are lighter than other parts of the body that is darker, and this kind of thing. So yeah, it's always good to try and see for yourself what will happen, because it's only yourself will know what for if you try if you try color and then you maybe find out you will find out you will find out what really happened. And so you just try different colors and see for yourself. That is the best thing I can say, because if you just I think information, yeah, as I said before, information is very good, but you have it's very hard to see exactly just for one information that will just tell you that is the thing that 100% will happen for you. And that is the thing with all the kind of skin tone, with dark and brown, and so on, dark brown and medium brown, almost light brown, and different version of black, like light black, and so darker, and so on. Uh, yeah, I think for me, for me personally, I think maybe now I will absolutely contradict myself here. Probably I will do. I don't know how to do it in any way, shape, other way. But I think, yeah, with the information is that how you know when you see a picture and they tell you a picture in the text, how many people with that skin tone, like really dark, have tried that color. And you have if you do a very accurate information, you have to tell them exactly what colors are the colors that is most likely to work, what colors are the least likely to work. If you have to tell them exactly the exactly that